Stellantis, a giant automaker formed from the merger of Fiat Chrysler and PSA Group, is going through a storm. Recently, they announced the end of Jeep operations and large-scale layoffs that feel like something out of a dramatic series. It's hard not to feel for the thousands of workers facing job cuts and the uncertain future of Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, and even Dodge. Almost all of Stellantis's key brands are struggling, which could lead to some dire outcomes. We could see anything from penalties by regulators due to the sheer size of this situation to, possibly, even bankruptcy. So, what's really happening here? Jeep, once known for its rugged, adventure-ready vehicles, is now finding it hard to fit into Stellantis's new strategy. Jeep seems to be shutting down, with workers bearing the brunt of this shift. Daily layoffs are creating a lot of anxiety among employees who are worried about how they're going to make ends meet. Stellantis is letting go of workers by the thousands. It's a situation no one wants to be in. But why is Stellantis cutting jobs at this scale? It all goes back to when the company was formed. After Fiat Chrysler and PSA Group merged to create Stellantis, we saw a series of strategic changes. But not every brand under Stellantis is benefiting from these changes. Some are struggling to keep up. Just look at Jeep. They're being pushed to reinvent themselves, moving away from their roots. Jeep's long-standing image was built on being tough and ready for adventure. Now, it seems like they're being forced into the luxury market, competing with brands like Land Rover and Lexus. This strategy feels misguided. Even Toyota had to create an entirely new brand, Lexus, to enter the luxury market. Yet, here Stellantis is, trying to make Jeep something it's not. This kind of rebranding is risky. It's like trying to turn a practical family sedan into a high-speed sports car. The identity of Jeep, its soul, is in its ruggedness and reliability. So, why push it into a market that it wasn't made for? It just doesn't fit. Meanwhile, other automakers like Ford are capitalizing on this confusion. They're bringing back models like the Bronco, which appeals to both adventurers and everyday drivers, and they're doing it at a reasonable price point. Jeep, on the other hand, seems to be losing its way. And then there are quality control issues. Reports of Jeep Wranglers suddenly catching fire are making headlines. 9 cases of Wranglers catching fire, even when parked and turned off, have been reported. This isn't a minor issue, it's a serious safety problem. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is investigating. These issues can severely damage a brand's image, especially one like Jeep, which is built on reliability and toughness. Consumers are understandably concerned. Who would want to drive a car that might just burst into flames? If that wasn't bad enough, the numbers reflect this grim reality. In the first half of 2024, Wrangler sales fell by a shocking 33%. That's not just a dip, that's like falling off a cliff. Stellantis is hinting at price cuts of up to $5,000 to turn things around. But let's be honest, is that really enough? Consumers are looking for real value, especially when spending tens of thousands on a car. It's like going to your favorite store expecting a great deal on jeans, only to find them priced like designer labels, even though you know you can find similar quality for half the price elsewhere. Meanwhile, the company is also dealing with the aftermath of the Belvidere assembly plant shutdown. This shutdown, along with others, has been attributed to the high costs of electrification. As automakers race to go electric, the cost of new technologies is straining resources. Stellantis is struggling to balance these new investments while keeping costs down. It's a difficult balancing act, and it's the workers and consumers who are feeling the impact. The layoffs and plant closures are not just about cutting costs. They also reflect declining sales. Jeep models like the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer have seen their sales drop by 24% and 17%, respectively, in the second quarter of 2024. This is alarming for a brand that was once synonymous with adventure and toughness. With sales falling and an oversupply of vehicles, Stellantis is forced to make these tough decisions. Adding to the tension is the strained relationship between Stellantis and the United Auto Workers, UAW union. The UAW has voiced strong concerns about these layoffs, accusing Stellantis of failing to honor commitments to job security and U.S. manufacturing. UAW President Shawn Fain has made it clear that the union is ready to take action, possibly even striking, to hold Stellantis accountable. This conflict could spell more trouble for the company. In the midst of all this turmoil, it's hard not to ask, could this have been predicted? After all, Stellantis is facing a 48% drop in profits during the first half of 2024 compared to the previous year. This isn't just a bump in the road, it's a major setback. The company's future investment plans are now up in the air as they reassess their operations. Looking ahead, Stellantis needs to rethink its strategy. Cutting jobs and closing plants is not a long-term solution. They need to find a way to stabilize and grow. Maybe it's time to go back to what made Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and Chrysler great in the first place. Rugged, reliable, and ready for anything. They can't lose sight of that. If Stellantis doesn't act fast, we might see more drastic measures. More layoffs, more plant closures, and more turmoil. This could even lead to the company being hit with penalties from regulators, which would add another layer of complexity to an already tough situation. It's a crucial moment for Stellantis, and one can only hope they make the right choices. But, let's hear your thoughts. Do you think Stellantis can turn this around? Drop your comments below, and if you're interested in more updates like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. In the end, it's clear that Stellantis is at a crossroads. They can either stick to their roots or try to reinvent themselves. But one thing is for sure, the road ahead is going to be bumpy, and we'll all be watching closely to see where they go from here.